Anyways, I want to thank Equality Florida, for honoring me this evening with the Voice of Equality Award, and I'm very humbled by that. The one thing that I, because listening to the other speakers and all that, the one thing that I'm reminded of is that oftentimes we define ourselves with our accomplishments of what we've done. But what truly defines who we are is what we do and our actions. And that's why we're here tonight. You showed up. It's like, for me, I have to get to the gym every day. I have to work out every day. I don't always like it, but it's the same thing like getting to the polls. It's like, you may not like getting there. It's a hassle. It's taking time out of your day. But once you do it, you feel good about it because you're doing the right thing. And that is so vitally important. I also traveled the world. I've been in a lot of summits nationally and internationally, and I would be a part of a panel, an LGBT panel. And I would just go up there and I say, look, I know a lot about the G in LGBT, right? But I had to learn about the L, B, T, and Q. And so it was an education for me. And I truly encourage you to educate yourselves. To learn how to talk respectfully, to others of our own community. We're called a community, and we don't always act that way. And so it's time, for us to join hands to teach each other, to share ourselves authentically of who we are, what our stories are. Because at the bottom of it is always love. It's always love. We want to be deserving of love, and we want to be loved. And that's a birthright. It's not a civil right. It's not anything that anybody can legislate. It's a birthright to love and be loved. I was on the short list in 2014, the Olympic Games in Sochi. I was on the short list to go to be one of the delegates to go to Sochi. Thank God, Brian Boitano finally came out. Right? Yeah. And so he was chosen to go to Sochi. But what happened was that Konstantin and Alvina, who head up the LGBT, the Russian LGBT Sports Federation, invited me to the LGBT Sports Festival. There were 5 days after the Olympic Games ended in Sochi. There were 5 days between that and the Paralympics starting in Sochi. So I went to Moscow and was a part of the LGBT Russian Open Games. As soon as we arrived, as soon as they heard who the organization was, we were all turned away from our hotels. They were struggling. Alvina and Constantine were trying to find hostels for everybody to stay in because we had 16 different countries coming to support them. Also, my husband was afraid for me to go because he was afraid I could be detained for 12 to 14 days without any reason. And so, you know, he was very concerned for me, but I was afraid to go over there. But because of my fear, I knew I was in the right place. I knew I needed to go, and I went. We had a bomb threat at the opening ceremony, so we couldn't hold the event at the venue that it was scheduled to be presented. Constantine found a very quiet bar that had a back room, and we were told that we were supposed to be quiet, so that when people gave speeches and people wanted to applaud, they would give the death signal for applause. And it was amazing. I mean, Elvina, I have to hand it to Elvina and Constantine about how, I mean, they were just tenacious about having this done. You know, it got to the point where we were meeting in the subways, and one person had the secret location for an event to happen, and we would follow them to the location. I went to the Side-by-Side Film Festival to show Back on Board. And it was interesting in St. Petersburg, Russia. And there was somebody at the gate, you know, guards at the gate, checking passports, making sure that everybody was old enough to be there. You know, so, I mean, I commend you with Florida, and you bombard me with tons of emails too. So I'm, and try and support as much as I can, and try and do my part, because I did go to University of Miami, and I did spend my last 2 years on my cocaine, I spent my last 3 years of my diving career in Boca Raton, Florida. Yeah. So Florida's kind of the second home for me. So, you know, it's important. If it's something, it's important to share your authentic self, you know, with people. That's the reason why I get involved with people like Athlete Allies, you know, because we have a tendency of neglecting and recognizing our allies, you know, and those supporters, and being inclusive to all of those people who are supporting us along the way. And so, you know, All Out Sports, there's, you know, some incredible organizations. But, you know, like what was said earlier, we've taken a few steps back. I mean, this year, you know, after the election, I swear I did not want to get out of my bed. Sometimes, you know, I just wanted to pull the covers over my head and just wish it would go away. But that's not going to happen. You know, you can have hope, but like what was said, hope without action is just wishful thinking. So it's important that we take those steps that we can. You know, whether it's volunteer, whether it's financial support, whether it's, you know, getting to know somebody who has a different view. You know, it was funny, I got an award in New York one year, and I was there for less than 24 hours. I was exhausted. I was thinking, oh my God, thank God I can sleep on the plane. And I was sitting next to this woman. It was her first flight, older woman. And she's like banging down the Bloody Marys. And I'm like, and then she started talking to me. And I'm like going, oh no, not this. And so she started asking me questions. You know, are you in a relationship? You know, are you married? Do you have kids? And I said, no, I'm gay. Yeah, I thought that would shut her up. And she said, oh, my nephew's gay. You may know him. And then she's trying to set me up. You know, it's important. And you know what? That was the best flight I had ever had, even though I was so exhausted. You know, because I shared a part of myself. And I learned something about somebody who is sitting right next to me. So it's so important to share who you are, and don't be afraid to share who you are. I mean, my husband and I were walking in a shopping mall, and you know, doing some shopping, and I was window shopping. I get distracted by shiny objects, and so I'm like, you know, looking at this jewelry store and everything. And then I come join him, and he was talking to one of the vendors, and he said, oh yeah, this is my friend, Louganis. Oh. And I said, excuse me? And I turned to the gentleman and I said, this is my husband. And so, and my husband was so embarrassed. And I was like, oh my God, you know, you were just, you know, you really tell it like it is, you know? And it's so important that we do that we do share ourselves. And we never know what kind of difference that we're gonna make. You know, and that's what I encourage when I do mentoring with the young kids, is random acts of kindness. You'll never know the impact that they might have on somebody. You know, just walking by somebody in a grocery store and it looks like they're having a bad day, and you smile at them and you say hi and they say hi back. You actually may have saved their life that day. You just never know. You never know what's going on in somebody else's life. So being a voice is a part of who I am. It's a part of my DNA. It takes practice, and the more you practice, the better you get at it. So I encourage you to continue practicing, being who you are, sharing who you are, and also taking risks. You know, it's important. You know, a lot of times when I feel like I'm a little bit afraid, I know I'm in the right place. And speaking to this many people, I do get afraid.
I'm in the right place.
So I just really encourage you, you know, acts of kindness, and remember that everything comes from love. Thank you.
Amazing story. I was actually telling Greg when I just met him, they wanted me to introduce him in a Speedo. But I'm too shy.
Yeah.
Not what we heard.
NBC will not do. All right, so now if auctioneering was an Olympic sport, our next presenter would have at least a couple of gold medals.